So there is this infinite loop of problems that we are facing in the real world. That is, we can list these things as problems because it is being considered by the society as problems. Society is something that is me and family, and the family of families and families and families together, and like the group mindset of people who are sitting together and deciding that this is real world, this is need to be done, and this is creating this impact. I mean, whoever the people think that these are the problems, I'm doing this video for them. If you're enlightened to understand and observe these things are happening, good, you're great. I'm just giving this information to the people who are not having it already. So please ignore if you have this, if you know this, check that. So getting to the point, what is happening in the world? Well, let's start with the coronavirus, to the Indian politics, to religion based politics, to whatever that happened in Delhi, to whatever happened in inside the caste, inside your family. There is a wedding, that there is a marriage, there is something intercaste or whatever the thing that is creating a confusion, creating an anomaly or abnormality or whatever. There are like infinite ways to approach these things, and it's an imbalance that you may be facing. So why does an imbalance being created in the first place? Let it be someone raping someone, someone killing someone, someone doing something that is not good for others. That's it. Like, once it crosses an individual and this individual is doing something to this individual and he doesn't like it. If this person doesn't like it, he's doing something. And you can replace that with parents, son alone. We just take these two things. So what is happening in here? This is a parent, this is a kid. So what is the dynamics that is playing right here is, there is this fundamental idea that is being there in the system of the Indian families and Indian societies. I'm not sure if it was there before the independence or like there before I was born. I have no idea, because I see these things right now at this time in the history of Earth. So it is 2020 around February. The things happening around me is what I can talk about. So I don't know what happened before, but we as families, we as a system think we own our children, we own the next generation, because we like to own. That is the point. It's not that it's a compulsion or anything, but there is this basic idea that the kids will take care of their fathers when they get old. This basic idea is what is driving this dynamics. I mean, the parents invest time and money and whatever the shit on the kids, and the kids has to return that back when the parents get old. This is this basic idea that is, that is kind of there. Not everyone is following it. I mean, but at least this idea is there and being considered as a thing to follow or cling yourself onto. So the basis of anybody is that nobody owns nobody, period. You cannot question that, because we born here, not that it is this person who wanted to born out of the sperm of my dad and my mom. They didn't have the option. They did something and it was pleasurable thing. Sex is a pleasurable thing. I can't deny that, right? But as an output, I arrived, and they expect something to be given to me, and in turn I have to give to them as well. So this dynamics of thinking is creating all sorts of problem. I mean, from the point that they have to get pride by me doing some work, something in some office, something in some organization, and that is rewarding them. I mean, like, how come that is even possible? But it's happening in our society, it's happening in the families that we go through every day, that people get pride because their son is doing something. What the fuck is that? Why? The moment they say that, it's obvious that this the self is extending towards and extending itself to the son, to whatever, to the son, the daughter, or grandchildren, or whoever. So it's a loop of things. We think it's a loop. It's not actually a loop. As long as you consider yourself, you're inside the system, it's a loop. Once you consider you are not in the system, oh man, this is bad. I mean, I really don't want to get this idea that I have to take care of my parents when they get old, and they have to take care of me when I'm the children. Like, I really don't have to follow that to my children. So there are like different ways to approach this same happening. One thing, why people have to consider their children as a protector when they get old, because they have this idea that they will get sick, like really sick. They may not be able to walk, they may not be able to go for shit themselves, they may not be going pee themselves, like all sorts of things, right? But why does that happen in the very first place? For sure, I love my dad, I love my parents, everyone does. But does that have to be in a controlled freedom ways? I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. It never happens that way. A friend told me, I mean, that is like a very good thing that hit me like a lot of times. Love cannot thrive without freedom. That is like the basis of love to get out of yourself. Let's consider there is this action that happens, like a tiny bit of action that happens in your family, that I want to go for a film that I really like. But suddenly my dad comes and he wants to go for a film, and he's not interested in my kind of films. And through some discussions, we kind of divert ourselves and fix it on another movie. And what happens here? I mean, we cannot judge beyond this process. We just take that particular medium. So we kind of, in a way of projecting our love, we kind of cut down our preferences, cut down our own ideas, that I have to go for movie A, but as my dad insists, we are going for B. So it's like a very tiny scale happening for 3 years, and you just go on with it for the entire life. There are like so much things. Forget the movies, you can just watch the same movie like at the time when you're going to office, when you're sitting in the train or whatever. But remove that movie part and just consider about other things. I mean, like, these are like tiny little uh, decisions, tiny little moments where you have to lose your freedom to someone, and who is getting that freedom from you? It's mostly the parents. It's happened to be this way because of the whole dependency that is being created between person who's dad and the children who's B. Does it have to be this way? I mean, not necessarily. Everybody owns their freedom. That's the end of it. When you consider why people get sick, I mean, the insecurity is what driving them to get to this idea that they have to own the children. But the insecurity of what? The insecurity of health, mostly because people get money, like not a lot of money, but people can survive right now. Like a lot of people, I'm not talking about the one who's really at their survival rate, but there is this one section where they're not definitely thriving for their food or survival or any of those sorts. But fundamentally, that is coming from the insecurity of health, and the insecurity of health is happening because they have had a very not so good in terms of body inputs, which is food. They've been taking shitty food, shitty things, shitty habits, whatever, and that has made their body to be something that is completely odd. And as you get old, till you get old, it's okay to manage your system. It's okay to get yourself up and run and do things. And but as you get old, the systems go fail, and as it fails, you cannot carry this system, this body by myself. That's when you need someone else's support. So fundamentally, it starts from food. What the fuck? How can it be food? How can the food be linking the generation gap and the freedom of someone, and whatever the layers that I have built in this video? But it's fundamentally food. When you realize these things, it is so obvious that why these things happen, because these things happen people who do not have the idea, who do not have the awareness of why these things happen. They want to be secure in their old age, but they don't consider food as an option to achieve that, because these ideas are not in the society already. So that is creating this gap, and that is my point I really wanted to give in at this point, because everybody owns their freedom and you have to give it. And also, one can take their freedom just by having the right food in terms of body. Thank you for watching. See ya.